welcoming in, making sure everything is going here, but we're here for the Patriots post-game show / eulogy. This is it. What we've kind of known for a couple of weeks now has finally officially come to fruition and conclusion. The Patriots are officially eliminated from playoff contention after a loss to the Miami Dolphins this afternoon down in Miami. That's it. Patriots are 6-8. There will be no postseason. It's the first time they failed to make the playoffs since the 2008 season, in which Tom Brady blew out his ACL in Game 1, and that was the Matt Castle year. They still finished 11-5 that year, not making the playoffs. This year, 8-8 is the best case scenario. Evan Lazar, that'll be the first time they don't finish above 500 since 2000. Really an unbelievable run of success here. As much as we're going to spend time criticizing, I'm sure burying certain aspects of this team and what they've done, and I know there's going to be some angry people, you do want to take 1 second and just kind of tip your hat to this team and what they've done and accomplished over this span of time. It really is remarkable. It is officially at an end, and this really does feel like an end, very definitive here in this loss to Miami. So there's a couple big storylines in addition to the game itself and some stuff we want to talk about going forward. A big-time injury to Stephon Gilmore. We don't know. He could have avoided a catastrophe. We're not sure yet. But let's just get into the game itself, Evan. Just an amalgamation of some bad stuff we've seen from this team all season long, kind of coming to fruition, ultimately resulting in a 22-12 loss to the Dolphins. So let's just start with the game itself, and I think obviously the run defense is going to be a culprit here.
Right. Run defense last 2 weeks has just been atrocious. And I thought last week was a really good plan by Sean McVay and a lot more to do maybe with scheme and game plan against the run defense than just actual bodies not being able to plug gaps. Today, it was just kind of man on man and getting manhandled at the line of scrimmage by Miami. But back to your original point about tipping the cap, I'm honestly a little bit relieved that we can stop faking it for the last 2 games of the year, that this team was actually going to go anywhere this year or was actually competitive at any point of making the playoffs or anything like that. I think that even though Bill Belichick's, I'm sure, very disappointed that his team is not going to the postseason, it's in a lot of ways, I think, a good thing for Bill, too, to say, okay, we are mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. Like, there's no point in starting Cam anymore. There's no point in playing John Simon over Anthony Jennings. There's no point in, making those types of decisions anymore to try to win a football game. These next 2 games are preseason. Let's study the roster. Let's get a good feel for what we have going into next year. Let's make some decisions, hopefully, again, about some younger players. Does Stidham have starter upside? Does he have starter potential? Or is that a complete waste at this point? I think that in a lot of ways, there's probably a good thing to come out of this, that this team didn't go on some fool's gold type of run down the stretch here to make everybody think that they were going to make a play for the playoffs or be in contention down the stretch, where in reality, this is a very flawed team in a very flawed season that ultimately needs to use these last 2 games of the year to find out some things about some of their younger players.
Beyond that, I mean, not just find out, but I mean, the reality of the situation is not only you want to find stuff out about people, you really actually want to lose these games. And again, no one ever wants to use the T word when associated with this team in terms of tanking. You don't want to tank, but ultimately, if you come out with L's here, that's not a bad thing with these guys, because we're looking at draft position now. You're looking at possibly delving into a quarterback market next year. In order to do that, you're going to probably need a top 12 pick to do so. You're looking at a dynamite receiver class potentially, where you could really right some wrongs here, addressing the position a couple of times potentially. If you wanted to do that, let's say you couldn't take a swing at the quarterback that you wanted, maybe you do something there. So there's certainly things there. A 6-10 team is going to have a much better draft slot than an 8-8 team. So that's certainly something that we're going to want to consider and look at as well. Let's get into a little bit of game specific stuff, Evan. And again, obviously, run defense is a thing. I don't think it matters much in the long run, but this was for against a Dolphins team that really doesn't rush the ball that well. This was fairly surprising.
Well, I just think it comes back to the fact that really all year long, I've kind of thought that flying under the radar was the Patriots' lack of first and second down edge defenders, guys that can really set a sturdy edge. If that's the scheme that they're going to continue to run moving forward, and they're not going to go to some of these one gapping, penetrating style defenses that we see more and more across the NFL, if they're going to stick to this two gapping style, they are going to have to upgrade at edge this offseason, whether it's a guy in free agency that they bring in or someone like that. And I think last year, with Van Noy and Collins and so on and so forth, I think we got a little bit, I don't know. I think Bill thought that he could plug and play certain guys there, like a Simon, like some of the rookies, like a Winovich, and it just hasn't really worked out that way. So
not yet.
And that I think has been the linebacker level is a problem too. I think really the whole front seven needs an upgrade in a lot of spots, and they could use a nose tackle certainly that could eat up some blocks in the middle along with Lawrence Guy, but not being able to set the edge of the defense and really failing multiple times in doing that today. That was a big problem for them against the Rams as well. It's been a problem all year. The Niners game, when the Niners ran all over them, that was often off the edge or attacking those edge defenders. So guys like John Simon, he's a great Patriot. He's that lunch pail type of guy, bring the hard hat to work, all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, that player maybe works out a little bit better when you have a Dante Hightower and you have a Kyle Van Noy and you have Jamie Collins and you have guys on the defensive line that can defeat blocks. And now when they don't have that talent around a John Simon, he's easily exposed and is somebody that's a little bit, more in the conversation as like a regular every down player. Winovich has been a major concern on the edge, setting the edge of the defense against the run. We all want to talk about why Winovich isn't playing. Well, that big 35-yarder, you can see that's why Winovich isn't playing. He got bullied right off the ball.
He doesn't do enough things well yet. That just is what it is.
Right. And that's just this front seven of the defense was a concern going into the year. It was a concern all season long. And then it kind of figured itself out in certain matchups against Baltimore, against Arizona. They had some good run defense games, but the big picture and large picture is that the run defense in the front seven needs a lot of fine tuning in the offseason. That's for sure.